Jennifer. Welcome to my channel here at NarcShield. I'm so happy to have you back. I am here trying to do a couple of videos for you guys tonight. And I'm hoping that you will subscribe to my channel, share, and like the videos if you will. I'm hoping that eventually I will be able to go live with everybody and we can comment and talk to each other that way. Thank you so much for being here. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate all the comments, and I do try to answer all of the comments in some way, even if I just put a little heart to let you know that I've seen it. But I do try to comment when I have a few minutes here and there. Sometimes I have a little more time to write back, and sometimes a little less, but I want you to know that I do see you, I do see your comments, and I do appreciate them, and I do appreciate that you are coming back to the channel. Thank you so much. I do appreciate it. So tonight I wanted to do a video. I made some notes on some things that come up, and I thought that I would talk about a couple of those things, and one of them is someone had mentioned, so, you know, what was your pet name from your narcissistic person or the toxic person that you were in a relationship with? And I was like, I remember someone asking me, and they had dated the same person that I had, and I was like, oh my goodness. And so I was like, well, my pet name was Stupid Bitch. So I hope that can actually be said on YouTube, and if not, I apologize. But yeah, that was the name. So I was a stupid, you know what, and anytime they were in a bad mood, they wanted to go off on me, that was my name. And so eventually, you know, I had a name for them too, as time went on it, but it was usually when I talked to other people about them. And I don't even know if I ever said that to them. I might have. Yeah, so I was Stupid Bitch, and I forgot what hers was. I think hers was, you stupid slut or something like that. But I think it still had stupid in it. And I was like, wow, okay. And I had found some old papers, you know, or old letters and stuff from old girlfriends and stuff from the person that called me that, and realized that it had gone way back in their past, that they had always been like this with the people that they had dated, and I was floored by it. Here I was thinking, I knew it wasn't just me, but when you're in it, you just feel like it's just you. I had heard stories before, but I guess I just didn't want to believe them, and in time, you know, it was kind of all in my face, and I had to believe it. So I'm curious, did you guys have a pet name like that? And I'm not talking about the nice pet name, you know, like babe or cutie, or, you know, or hottie or whatever, love muffin. None of that. I'm talking about the bad name. What was your bad name? Mine was Stupid, you know, which with a B in front. And also, I was like, so somebody asked me about future faking or whatever, and I feel like I've told this story somewhere before, but I know I've told it, and it is my story. But I had someone that I was dating, and I loved him. I definitely loved him. I wanted to marry him. I didn't think I would want to marry him, like, at first, but I grew to love him, and I was like, I wanted to marry this person. And there was a reason I thought that we might not marry, and I don't want to give too much of that away, because then people who might know me might try to guess who this person was. But marriage was something that came up between the two of us quite often. We did talk about it a lot, and whether, you know, it was something that we thought we could do or not. And I definitely had decided that if this man ever asked me to marry him, that I was definitely going to say yes, and I wanted to marry him. And we were at And so every now and again he would talk about how I would be the perfect wife. He said it all the time. How I was like, he saw me as perfect in his eyes in so many ways. And he said it all the time. But there was something that he didn't see perfect. And he would always remind me of that too. That would always come in. So it was very confusing and conflicting for me. And sometimes he would act like he wanted to marry me, and then other times he would make it seem like that would never happen. It was extremely confusing and would throw me off. And then it would make me sometimes think, okay, well, this isn't going to happen and I need to walk away from it. But then something else would happen and it would make me think, well, maybe it could happen and I really do love him. And so then I was trying. It's a long thing, and it was a long, drawn out relationship where this continued. But we were at a restaurant one night. We were at a really nice restaurant in town. And there was a couple of things that he did there that I was just like floored by. But one of them was, we were just sitting at the table. I was sitting across and just having a normal conversation with him. And he just looked at me and he says, what would you do if I got on one knee right now and asked you to marry me? And I was like, don't do this. Don't tease me. And he's like, well, how do you know that I'm not planning on doing that? And I'm thinking, first of all, you wouldn't have asked me that. You would have just done it. It would have been, he would, I was like, because I know, and we had some serious conversations earlier, and I was like, I just don't think we're right at that place right now because of things that we had talked about and things that we were going through for that. And I didn't think it was funny. And I was like, I don't think this is funny. And he's like, and he had this look on his face like, what? Like, how do you know I'm not going to do that? And he's kind of looking around like, and I don't know why he was doing that, but I didn't think it was funny at all. As a matter of fact, it hurt me because we're in this really nice restaurant. We're dressed up. It was a special occasion. And it was a time where, if somebody was going to ask you to marry, that they could possibly ask you. But the way he said, I knew he wasn't going to ask me that. And it was just future faking. And it was a way to upset me. I felt like he was trying to upset me and just get a reaction out of me. And I could tell he was enjoying it, but I was not. And I was upset. It ruined dinner. I mean, the whole way home, I was like, because I wasn't getting engaged. It made no sense that he would do that. So not even future faking. It was almost felt like he was baiting me into getting in an argument or making me feel bad and making me feel like, well, I'm not getting engaged. So what was this? And it's just, here we're in this really nice place. We're really dressed up. And it's this holiday, and he didn't ask. He just wanted, and he didn't understand why it was bothering me, like why I felt like he shouldn't say that to me like that. And he just kept on at dinner. Anyway, it ruined dinner, and I don't know if that's necessarily future faking, but in a way, because he would sometimes talk about it with me and then yank it from me. Talk about it with me and yank it from me and tell me that he thought I would be a perfect wife. And, maybe he did think in many ways that I would be, but there was a huge reason that he thought I wouldn't be, and I can't give that away because then everybody would know who I'm talking about. This one was mentioned. Sometimes I can't even read my own handwriting, I tell you, because I'm like scribbling it out so fast or whatever. But, when a narcissistic person does something and they're like horrific to you, like let's just say they've beaten you, called you every name in the book, cheated on you, done all these really horrific things, and then they're telling a story or they're talking back, and it's like just the story, no emotion at all in it, just like. So you see, I think this is more sociopathic because you see it with like Chris Watts and people like that when they've murdered their wife and their kids, and then they're in the interrogation room, and first they've denied, and they talk about how wonderful their marriage was and there was no problems, or maybe they had an argument, but there's no tears, there's no real sense of remorse, and they're just talking in this voice that's kind of like almost monotone, like they're just telling a story. Yeah, and then I just took the blanket and put it over the face, and then I just took him out, and then I just took him up there, and then, and then I just threw the body out here. And they're just telling it like I'm telling a story about, some guy who was baiting me about whether he was going to get on one knee, what I would do if he got on one knee and asked me to get back. Like it's a story, and that it's as if they're outside of themselves and telling that story. So maybe they're outside of themselves and picturing it as someone else, like it's a movie and they're telling it. I don't know. But yeah, I think that's more sociopathic, because I do believe that narcissistic people, they know right from wrong, and they have feelings for sure. Sociopathic people, I know they carry around rage and things like that, but I mean, it's like, it just doesn't even, I don't even understand that much, the whole sociopathic thing. But yeah, to tell a story about things that they have done that are bad and act like it's not a big deal, or maybe tell other people, and other people might be sitting there going, yeah, but I mean, this has happened to me. I've had people tell me stories before of things, and I'm like, or they've done things, and then they come back and they're telling me, and they don't understand why somebody's mad at them. And I'm like, well, because that's not necessarily nice. And it looks bad. It is bad. It's intrusive. Because they didn't get it. It's like, it just, and so it took somebody like me or somebody else to be like horrified. And then they might notice that they did something, and they might try to correct something, and go, oh, wow, I guess I was wrong like that. Other people, because people like that, they mimic other people. They are watching what other people do and their reactions and things like that, whether it's good, bad, and different, they're watching. So, yeah, they can tell a story about something so horrific and have absolutely no empathy whatsoever. They don't have any empathy. They don't care. They could care less that it hurts you. The guy at the table saying to me, what would you do if right now I got, I don't know what I would have done. But I knew that it wasn't funny, and I knew that he wasn't going to ask me. And then he was like battering on about, how do you know I wasn't going to? And I'm like, because of the conversation that we had. It was probably like yesterday or the day before. I mean, literally, it was like a conversation where I knew, I didn't even know if our relationship was going to survive, because we had this conversation about this one thing that could keep us from not. And so it was just kind of like, why would you even say that to me? And he did stuff like that all the time. And it is so confusing. And we might want that relationship so bad. Like that guy, there was a huge part of, I wanted to marry this guy. I wanted to have a family with him. I wanted to share a life with this person. And I can tell you right now, I did not think it was funny. And another thing that he did that night was, this couple had come in, and when they came in and were being seated, he was staring at the girl. And I was like, I made mention that it wasn't really nice to do that, to stare anyway. I mean, the man, it's like he's going to knock you out in about 2 seconds. You're staring. I mean, it was like he was breaking his neck to stare. And not only would it make her uncomfortable and the guy, it was making me uncomfortable. And I mentioned it. I didn't get all mad and huffed out, but I was like, that's kind of, why are you doing that? And I got something along the lines of, oh, I thought I knew her or something. And I remember thinking later, I wonder if he had been on a date with her before through like a dating site that he had been on while he was going out with me. And so I was wondering if maybe that's why, maybe he thought she was really pretty. I don't know. But I do know that I felt uncomfortable for several reasons. I felt uncomfortable for myself. It's like it was a romantic time and everybody's all dressed up and everything. And it was clear he was staring at this girl. And I mean, he was turning to do it. And so it made me uncomfortable for myself. It made me uncomfortable for the couple. And I was so afraid that the guy was going to see it and that there was going to be a thing. You're like, have you ever been like that where you're just on eggshells? Like, oh my gosh, like, what are you doing right now? That's not okay to do that. And it was just creepy to me. And looking back, it's even creepier. Like, it was just too creepy for me. So anyway, I don't know if you guys have ever been through anything like that, but if you have, please put some of those things in the comments below and maybe we could talk about that later. I want to know if you had a name that was a bad name. Mine was Stupid, Stupid B. And I mean, I was called that quite often. And I want to know, did you ever get any comments like that from your narcissist where they said things like that or did stuff like that to you? And what was the other thing? Oh, or have you ever noticed when someone is like that and they're telling you a story about something that they've done and they think they're in the right and it's really not nice, it's really bad, and you're like, and they just are like, no empathy whatsoever for the other people whatsoever. I see that sometimes when we're talking about the masks, no offense. I'm sorry if you guys don't agree with wearing masks and things like that. In my industry, I have to wear one. And I actually do think it's not that big of a deal, to put it on and wear it to keep other people safe whenever I'm out and about. It's just not that big of a deal. You throw it on, you go into the store, you do what you got to do, you use your hand sanitizer, you just do whatever you got to do just to keep safe and keep everybody else safe. It's not that big of a deal to me. So I don't really fight with people about it, but I do notice that people who, if I'm wearing it, let's just say, and you were to see me and you were someone, I've had this where it's like it makes the people uncomfortable who don't want to do it. And so then they're like, on to me about it and giving me all kinds of stuff about me wearing it. And I'm like, okay, well then just stay away from me, or, do what you got to do. But why are you so all up in arms about it? And then they're more like why blaming and projecting like you guys are the ones fighting about, and putting us down or not wearing masks. And I'm like, I feel it like it's the other way around. But, everybody's got their personal opinion about what they want to do. All I know is I do my thing, and I can tell you that it does make some people uncomfortable, and they have lashed out. I've actually had somebody yell at me about being doing what I'm supposed to do in my industry, and they weren't doing any of it. And I was looking at them like, okay, then go and do your thing and whatever you want to do over there. And I'm going to continue to do mine. And, why do you have to come over here and yell at me because I'm doing the right thing? So, we see, this in different areas of our lives, but it's like you don't have to like go and beat somebody up just because it makes you uncomfortable, because you're not doing it and they are. Let's just stay in our own corners. So but I will say to people, and I do say all the time, if you're going to come in to get your hair done and stuff like that with me, everybody's got to come in with a mask, got to do that. I want to keep my license and keep my my business safe for everybody. And you know what? I'm doing it, and so to come in my business, this is what we do. And in my state, we have to wear masks. Everybody has to wear masks now. So that does bring up a lot of controversy. I'm just kind of throwing that real quick in as a little, so I'm not giving too much of an example of how that's gone, but I wanted to throw that in. So yeah, I want to hear, why don't you guys tell me, do you have people who have done this to you, and what was it? And, I don't know if they were narcissistic. I mean, this can happen even with people that aren't narcissists necessarily, but I am curious as to some of your stories, and I do appreciate your comments. I hope you're doing well, and I will try to get out some more videos for next week. All right. Talk to you soon. Please subscribe, like, and share the videos that you like. I really hope that you will subscribe, and in time, once I have 1,000 subscribers, I'll be able to go live and we can all chitty chat together live. I think it's going to be so much easier for me that way. I do better live. So I'm hoping for that soon in our near future. You guys take care. Bye.